Welcome, I'm Lauren Thompson, and step into the batter's box because the champion within starts right now. Today, we meet Jacob Steinberg, whose path to collegiate glory was quickly set back due to a freak mid-game injury.
The pain was so bad I had to take myself out after the second inning.
Injuries are an inevitable part of sports, causing physical and emotional pain and even putting young careers in jeopardy. But they can also offer an opportunity for personal growth and a chance to make an athlete even stronger than before.
Up in this region is the ulnar collateral ligament.
Jim Steinberg is a general orthopedic surgeon. Approximately a third of his patients are under 18. He knows that when it comes to injuries, no one is exempt. Not even the son of a surgeon. Jim's son Jacob has been playing sports for as long as he could walk. As a kid, the sport didn't matter.
I played basketball, football, and baseball growing up. I think as a kid, my parents threw me into pretty much everything because just being around sports, it's what I love to do. Once I got to high school, I kind of started to move to just baseball. Personally, I wish that I kept going with the other sports.
Talk with scouts and with executives. They'll tell you that they actually value the multi-sport athlete better, not just because they understand that he's going to have less wear and tear on his arm, but because they feel like bringing in those other elements that you get from other sports makes you a better athlete.
In high school, Jacob's sole focus turned to baseball for year-round conditioning and workouts. As his skills on the diamond developed, specializing seemed to pay off when he received serious interest from colleges.
I think it's hard. You have a 15, 16-year-old teenager, and you have these coaches put a lot of pressure on a kid to basically say you have 48 hours or a week to make a decision as far as whether or not you're going to commit to my school. That's a lot on a teenager, but it's not binding. It's a verbal commitment you can't really sign in any major sport until you're a senior. The kid can easily decommit and decide they maybe want to go elsewhere. At the same token, the school can decommit from you if you don't progress the way they think you should progress. And injuries certainly come into play too.
Midway through his sophomore year, Jacob verbally committed to the University of Miami, and they to him. The decision put him on the cusp of fulfilling his dream to play college baseball. But at a spring tournament a year later, that dream was suddenly cast into doubt.
First pitch to the second batter, I felt something in my elbow, and I was just expecting it to be something normal that would go away as the game went on, just something I had to deal with. And as I kept going, it just kept getting worse, and the pain was so bad I had to take myself out after the second inning. It was pretty scary. I mean, there were tears coming out of my eyes in the dugout. I went over to the corner, and it was scary not knowing what was going on at the time.
Jacob Steinberg's injury ended up being a partial tear of his ulnar collateral ligament, which made him a candidate for a newer, less invasive operation in which the ligament is repaired instead of being replaced. The procedure, which cuts the rehab time in half, was pioneered by Jeff Dugas at the Andrews Sports Medicine Clinic in Birmingham, Alabama. Less than 3 months later, Jacob was soft-tossing a baseball. Even though he was making progress, Miami's interest in him waned, leading him to begin the difficult process of decommitting from the school and exploring other options.
Definitely at first I wasn't too happy about it. I was really upset. For 2 years I had set my mind, set my everything on that school, and after 2 years, all of a sudden one day, that's not what's happening anymore. It was definitely a lot for me to handle, but now I'm just trying to take it as blessing in disguise for more opportunities, and it just made me work that much harder.
Only 6 months after the operation, Jacob was back on the mound and would soon return throwing in the 90s. And for Jim, as he transitions from father back to surgeon, the takeaways are clear.
Hopefully play other sports, especially if they're not in high school yet. Take breaks as far as the throwing. Pitchers shouldn't be throwing year-round anymore. You can certainly train and condition, but not to compete 12 months out of the year.
A lot of times what we see is that somebody will get hurt because they're throwing with their arm fatigued. That's the whole point of pitch counts, because the last thing you want to do is fatigue your shoulder and go out and throw. What happens when you do that is you lead with your elbow. when your arm is fatigued, and you really place your elbow and your shoulder at greater risk of injury.
With the injury fully behind him, Jacob's focus has turned to finding his next landing spot, a college program where he wants to both pitch and play first base. Jacob will bring with him a scar on his right elbow that represents a life-changing chapter in his journey. Not all injury stories have happy endings, but in trading one U of M for another, Jacob's pitching career is right back on track.